Oh, I'm alive. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. 5 minutes, everyone. This is scheduled to be the Valentine's contest thing, where ShannonMac is supposed to be announcing the winners, but he shall be turning up later. Prior commitments, I guess. So for in the meantime, we could probably go over some Blender stuff. So any questions, anything, any pressing issues with Blender, and we can go over those. Did you? In the other office? Oh, I don't know. I've absolutely no idea what's going on over there. I know nothing. So what would you like to discuss today? I wonder. Been working more with Blender, promise, yes. I believe you. I really, truly do. Well, yes. I mean, now that you know a good way of getting SketchUp files into Blender, or the bits that you need, that should be fine. Ooh, I know what. Poses. Is it that one? So as you may remember, this is the furniture item that was exported, and it has our custom seat nodes, these three, and Shannon's default seat node, and that was imported into the pose file. Now, which one was it? I think it was that one. Yep, that's the one. So what we ended up doing was, I think we discussed this in the last session, when that was a week or so ago now, I guess. Can't remember. So one of the tricks, or one of the things that you can do when you're working on your poses, is position the furniture item relative to the pose, and because this is just a proxy, it's just a stand-in, so that you know where the pose is, and how it's supposed to interact with the object, you can just duplicate this a number of times and reposition it relative to the avatar so that you can switch the pose around. No, which one's that? Is that 3 or 2? No, that's 1. So that's avatar pose 1. So once you've imported or appended the furniture item, you can just duplicate it however many times you need to suit the poses that you're creating. And that just makes it easier to do the poses. It saves you having to constantly change the position of a single instance of the furniture. You just duplicate it and position it where you need it to be. And that just means that you can then make your pose relative to the furniture item. And as always, the seat node should always be positioned at the root of the avatar. The root is not the root bone, it's this little spot. That's the origin point. So you've got to match the seat node with that tiny little dot, and that ensures that your poses are positioned correctly relative to your furniture item. If you get a, so Liana's asking if you get an extra pose. Depending on if it's assigned to something, let's say we want to get rid of attachment. So that's actually the base animation for the attachment node. But let's say we wanted to get rid of that. You have to select the object that action sequence is associated with and deselect the fake user button. That'll switch this back to just being a data block, which then means that you can remove it from you're removing the association with the item. I may have a little, let me just try something, see if this works. Oh no, I have to go into screen share. Oh, that won't work. I was just looking at the annotation things that we were discussing in the previous show. But anyway, so you deselect the fake user, which turns the item into an ordinary data block, but that still has a link to an actual object. So you have to make sure that that object is selected, and then you just click the X button. That'll remove the association, which then means that the animation sequence has a little 0 next to it, which indicates that there's no objects in the Blender scene using that. So if you save the file and reload it, that should disappear from the file, and that's how you get rid of them. It's a bit it may seem a bit complicated, but it's actually you have to do it this way because of the way that Blender works, because these sequences are essentially objects in their own right. So you have to essentially delete all the links between all the objects or data blocks before you can remove them, because these sequences can be assigned to all sorts of things. Unlike a number of other 3D applications, that if you wanted to do, if you wanted to animate the mesh, for example, you'd have to use a particular type of animation sequence. Whereas if you're wanting to animate the armature, you use another type of action sequence. But in Blender, these action sequences can be applied to anything, which is why you have to go through this, relatively speaking, protracted process of deleting things and switching them back to just ordinary data blocks before they can be removed. Or the shortcut is to you select your object, go into the outliner, and you want the Blender file option, and then in here you have a list of the contents of the scene, everything that's in the scene. Actions is at the top, and you just right click on an entry, whichever one you want to get rid of, right click and just delete, and that gets rid of it. Go away, Microsoft. Don't need to be reminded about updates. Thank you very much. And that's the quick way of doing it. So if you save the file now, that data block no longer exists anywhere. So that's how you do that. Oh yeah, there you go. That looks very good. Yes, you'll if it's a static pose. Yeah, if it's a static pose, Liana, you'll have to have, you need that transition. Otherwise the FBX exporter doesn't recognize what's going on. That looks alright actually. Very nice. I won't share it on screen in case somebody decides to nick the idea. Not that anybody would do that, of course, because you're all nice people. No worries, Horrod. I'm not quite sure how long we'll be live tonight because of the shenanigans that Shannon is getting up to. Happy? What's happy about it? He says, quoting, misquoting. But, yeah, so if you've got any stray animation sequences, those are two ways that you can get rid of them. I mean, the quick way is just to use the outliner, select the Blender file option, and that'll list everything that's in the scene. Just right-click it, right-click the thing that you want to get rid of, and just delete. Oh, lurking. Yeah, I mean, the pose looks fine. It looks fine. This what you've got so far looks okay. Don't see any issues with that. I mean, obviously, just make sure that you have the. If it's a static pose, make sure you've got the transition to the reset. So that's our reset pose. We need that. If it's a static pose, we always need that. Well, relative to using FBX, that is. We need that so that the FBX exporter knows that there's something going on and that there's an action happening. Otherwise, it'll ignore it. Yep, ask away creations. Unwrapping the letter E. Yes. Well, I'll load up the original, the furniture item. So most of, well, not most of, all of them, all the letters use the same process. I'll just isolate this just so that it's easier. So as all the letters, everything used the same principle. So what we did, what we wanted to do. So let me just switch to the UV editing layout. Close these and that one. Right, so that's the letter E. So that's the UV layout for the letter E. So as you can see from the UV, or the UV map, let me just switch to island select. That selects the entire section. What we did was basically split. Well, we didn't physically split. We used UV seams, which are the highlights, these orange highlights on selected edges. So what you do is you select your edge, switch to edge select mode, which is this button down here, or you can use Control Tab, and you just shift right click your edges I'll tell you what, I shall clear these so that we have a clean mesh. So you shift right click the edges, and there isn't a quick way to do this per se because the mesh is broken down into triangles, so there's no edge continuity relative to doing a larger selection, which you can do with well, it's a loop select, which is Alt plus right click. So we select all the edges. So these are the edges that we want to mark as seams, and then mesh edges mark seam, or you can just press Control E and that gives you the same menu with some of the options. Mark seam. And what's that doing? What that's doing is essentially creating a virtual split in the mesh. So when you unwrap the object, it does this. It splits the UV up into sections based on your assignments, your seam assignments. So if you did the same on the other side, again, there's no quick way to do this per se because of the triangles the mesh is broken down into. So that's the outside, that's the inside. So again, similar thing. We select, right click, shift right click the outer edge and mesh edges mark seam. So what that's now done, it's created two sets of highlighted edges. So this, when we unwrap this, will give us these two sections. And then the rest of it was essentially just, where's the, I think the seam, where did we put the seam? I think we put the seam under here. So to unwrap the, that's actually the side of the mesh. So we're looking at the back, that's the front, and the wraparound, if you like, is the side. So what we wanted to do here is hide the seam somewhere that it's not going to be readily noticeable. So you can right click an edge that's in a little corner like this, and I think we did the same on the inside. And again, mesh edges mark seam. So when you unwrap the entire thing now, with those two breaks, again, the edges marked split, so marking a seam along this edge will split this side loop that loops around mesh. And that creates, why is that broken like that? Oh, that's fine. Alright, so if I select all of that, so that then creates this longer unwrapped section. That's the outer loop, and then we've got this smaller section, which is the inner loop, which is this middle bit. Yeah, it depends. You'd have to see that if you've got some odd things going on. But it should be okay, because it's a pretty straightforward UV unwrap. There's nothing particularly complicated about this particular setup. Yeah, it should be okay. Yes, screenshot will help. Yeah. But all the letters, well, all the shapes were unwrapped the same way, just assigned a different texture and material. quad faces creations is asking quad faces or triangles. Whilst you're working, let me get the forum post where I discuss this. Whilst you're working, it's best to be in quads. That's not for any particular. Well, it is. It helps with the structure of the mesh if it's in quads as much as possible. Now, where did I post this? But yes, basically you want to be modeling in quads as much as you can, and you don't necessarily need to worry too much about it being in triangles, because the export process kind of does that for you. But in saying that, the conversion process is automatic in the way that the export process does it. So you may find occasionally that a face or two is out of sync or it's collapsed. So you might have to triangulate before you export certain areas, or just triangulate the whole mesh, then make some adjustments. Can't find the topic. Quads. Oh, that is a long post. I forgot it was that long. So there we go. Here we go. So copy link. There you go. Have a read of that when you have time. But basically, I'll just read the... Generally speaking, there are a number of reasons why preference is given to modeling using quadratic faces, brackets quads, instead of, or rather than, triangles. From a production point of view, i.e. making the content used in games, quadratic faces greatly aid the editing process because they allow certain functions to freely flow around the object. The reason for this has to do with the way that mesh structures are generated as a lattice, a collection of vertex points connected by edges that define a space, which is then filled with a face. This lattice is formal. It follows a set pattern to aid speedy analysis when traced, whilst minimizing the amount of backtracking. The amount of backtracking that might be necessary to catch missed edges, slowing down the process. In other words, edge orientation flows in a particular direction, usually bottom left to top right, to ensure a given structure is rendered as quickly as possible, regardless of individual faces being quads or tris. That's triangles, quadratics or triangles. So let's have a look at the screenshots. Oh, yes, yeah. That. So this is, let me just, I shall view image. Move this to a new window. This might be a little teeny tiny image. Yes, that's due to the way that the mesh was decimated. So it's not quite... let me just check, see if it has actually. So that's this. That's this group of faces. So the UV map looks as though it's collapsed because it's such a small amount of space that's being occupied in the UV. That's a tiny, I mean, that's probably just, I don't know, maybe, actually that looks to be about 1 or 2 pixels high. So yes, if you've got some detail in there, it's going to get a bit messy because you've got a really long, thin triangle spanning the entire width of this object. Ideally, as a mesher, you want to try and avoid that, so you would probably want to try and flip the orientation of this to change its size without affecting the mesh. So what you would do for that is select the two faces that are close to one another. These are the ones that you can see. This edge. Hang on, let me switch to. Right, so we've got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So our shape, the shape that we've got selected, is 2 triangles defined by 4 outer edges. But there's the diagonal, which is this one, which allows us to then select those 2 faces. But this diagonal we can flip, and it'll change the size and shape of this really long, thin triangle. And we can do that by selecting the faces. So that's this face and this face, because those are neighbours. And flipping these will be relatively straightforward and easy because we are within the bounds of the shape. If we tried to flip this edge with that one, it won't work because of the, is that convex or concave? Relatively speaking, that's concave. But anyway, it would cross over, and we'll show that. So you can select your edges, mesh edges, and which one is it? What's the shortcut? The shortcut is Control E, and then, oh, they've moved it. Where's it gone? Rotate edge, is that the one? That's the one. Oh, I see. Right, okay, so they've moved it. Another thing they keep doing. Moving things. Stop moving things. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's absolutely fine, Creations. I mean, you know, essentially you can do exactly the same thing in 3D Studio Max anyway. You can rotate an edge. I think it's called rotate edge. So you've got your, let me just undo that. So you've got your 2 faces selected. You want to rotate this edge, this diagonal. Let's mesh edges. And then we want rotate edge clockwise. CW is clockwise, CCW is counterclockwise. And what that does is it flips the edge and it makes this face, well, what was a very thin, narrow face, now a much more reasonable surface. Ideally, you would adjust this. Not necessarily before UV mapping, and you probably have to do it with this one as well. So you'd want to check these. If you were meshing this, if this was your mesh, you would want to go through the mesh, over the mesh, and check these, depending on how much effort you want to put into it, of course. But yeah, so these thin ones, they're quite tricky because it could mean reorientating a lot of faces in order to reduce this this issue where you've got these long, thin triangles. So the shape of the object is obviously going to determine whether you can fix that, whether you can address that as a problem. But that's all that is. It's just because the pixels get, well, essentially there isn't enough texture space. There isn't enough texture space dedicated to these individual faces within the realms of a 512 by, well, that's actually 256 high. So as you can imagine, that's barely maybe 2 or 3 pixels high. So if you've got any detail, any fine detail that you, let's say for the sake of argument, you put a trim around the outline, it might smudge or get a bit messed up there because there's not a lot of pixel information for it to use, especially because it's going round a corner where you have the aliasing effect. So yes, it's not you, it's me. You know, keeping the Valentine's theme. It's not you, it's me. I just, well, but that's how you can correct it. So you select your faces, mesh, edges, where's edges? Edges, and then clockwise or counterclockwise. Yeah, so that's something that you have to watch out for, obviously, when you do it, particularly with the letters. If you're doing something with these letters, because of the decimate tool and what that does to the mesh, you have to watch out for what for these narrow surfaces. Yes, trying to get it done to teach ShannonMac how to do something. For your, what do you mean by, when you say relax, Creations is asking, now that you have the two front faces of the E separated by a seam, can you relax the front face of it? So what do you mean by that? What is it that you're actually trying to achieve relative to each of the front and back faces? Oh, right. So by relax, I mean, this is Creations is saying, by relax, I mean stretch the front E face so the polygons themselves have more room. Yes, you can. It's just a question of selecting the island or the UVs, press the S key, and you just rescale them to however big or small you want them to be. But obviously, if you do that, you've then got to keep in mind that at the moment, and by default, when you unwrap something in Blender, I don't know if 3D Studio Max does this off the top of my head, but all the components are proportioned relative to each other. So the UV appears in the UV image editor literally as if, or literally, as people seem to say these days, literally as if you had chopped the sides off, or chopped the front and the back, and split the side and just laid the whole lot out without doing anything to the mesh. So everything is in proportion. So if you want to increase the size of the UV, of the E's, let's make them bigger. So if we make them full size so that they occupy the entire height, we then have an issue in terms of, well, what do we do with the sides? We can shrink them down, but in doing so we lose a lot of texture density and correlation between the elements, because, for example, if you put let's say you did a piece of bling and you had some gold trim with, you know, what are they called? Diamantes, fake diamonds. You know, so let's say you had fake diamonds all around the edge of the front face. When you go to put them on the sides, you're going to get quite a significant size disparity, because this UV map might be only as big as that, so that it fits the height. So it fits the height of the available space between the two front and back E letters. And goodness knows what you'd have to do with the, that's the inside of the E bit. So yeah, yes, you can do, you know, as with 3D Studio Max, you can do all sorts of stuff. But of course, you do it relative to, for meshes that are to be derived from the, we were talking about this in the last session. You have to decide whether you want, if this is for you, then it doesn't matter, because you can, you know, you can work with the mesh in Blender or 3D Studio Max and work around the texture limitations that you create for yourself by doing this. But if it's somebody's going to derive from this, this can create problems. It can make it frustrating, because I would guess, at a guess, this is probably 2 or 3 times the texture density of the side panel, or the bit that wraps around. So you're going to have to do quite a bit of guesswork to try and match up what detailing you put on here, but also trying to work out the correct size, because a 1 pixel, let's say for the sake of argument, you put a lot of diamantes, 1 pixel big down the edge, you would have to do, well, that would work for this, for the edge, but it wouldn't work for the E's because of the size difference. So 1 pixel on the wraparound would probably correlate to maybe 3 or 4 times larger to make up the disparity between the two elements. So yes, you can do whatever you want to the UVs, but that's a, you know, that's a consequence of that's the problems that you might create based on what you do. So as best as possible, it's usually best to try and keep everything proportionate. Is it going to let me go back and undo all of that? Oh, maybe. No. Ran out of undos. Seen what before, Liana? Oh, somebody just joined. Oh, well, we are kind of live. I think ShannonMac may be on the way. So, if you have any other... Oh, right, yes, the detail size. Yeah. Yeah, so that's why that happens, is because it's not because the
Shannon's here now.
what? Sorry?
What? Shannon's here now.
You are all live.
Yes, we know. We heard you say something with Shannon's name. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay, this is not good.
What's not good?
Oh, sorry.
So are you talking on Zoom or are you talking elsewhere?
I'm talking in Zoom.
Zoom. Okay. Zoom.
So they can't hear us on Zoom.
Okay.
Is that correct?
No, they can. We are live.
Oh, we're live. Okay.
This is not.
You may want to mute.
Why do I want to? Why do I want to mute? Oh, I don't have anything to talk about.
I have something to tell you. You
oh, okay. Sorry. I'm going to mute myself now. Wait, let's see here. Oh, that's
so what are you muting your end, or am I muting my end?
How about you mute our end just to be safe?
All right. Right. So you are muted. So I'm now talking to myself now again. Yes, I am talking to myself. No. No, they can't hear you at all whatsoever. So, yes, they can hear me, so I could, if I really wanted to, repeat everything that you say. Uh-huh. No. Well, whilst you're doing that, I'll just finish off what I was talking about on stream because somebody asked. Liana, yes, the answer to the question that you were asking is that the texture difference, the difference in the textures, is not always you. It can be the UV maps because of the size. Well, it's not the size difference; it's the proportion difference, the difference in proportions between the different elements of the UV map. So like we were just discussing, if the E was big relative to the rest of the UV map, this bit, the big E, is going to look far more detailed than the smaller bits, simply because it's using a lot more texture space. So you do have to keep that in mind in terms of, when you're working with, well, it's not just when you're working with other people's meshes, but when you are, hang on, do that, send the invite again, sorry, I missed that. Yes, I can hear every word. Every word. No. It's. Do you want everyone to hear you, or because you do? Well, this is this is going out live because you've just sent me the invite whilst we were live streaming. So this is live. I mean, do you want it to be live or? Why? I wouldn't do that. Why on earth would I am that you would think I would do something like that? That is. Right, I'm going to turn the audio on so that this conversation makes sense. Right,
I'm ready for it. Is it on?
You are live now.
Yay. Okay, now that we're
Chairman
live.
Meow, is that you? Comrade?
That's my cat, and his name is Chairman Meow Reese.
Comrade.
I just want to mention, can I just mention the feed?
Feed? What feed?
Did you see Explore, now known as Discover today? Did you see it?
No, I haven't looked at that today yet.
It's
No.
amazing today. You have to look at it. Can you show everybody?
From ShannonMac.
It's amazing. You have to go put it up on the screen so everybody can see the feed in Next and what it looks like right now in Explore.
Loading.
Oh, I thought I opened up. Is it still loading? What's going on?
That is.
He doesn't. He upgraded his computer.
I'm still working on the upgrade.
Isn't it? Oh, you are. Are you still filing things down?
Yeah.
Elizabeth's gonna look awesome.
That is very funny.
Would you say it's amazing?
It's funny. Yeah. Did you see what Shannon was like? I'll only participate if I can have the word amazing. Okay, it didn't go down exactly like that, but
who I see your...
Are you looking in Explore?
Yeah. Oh, when I see your
There we go.
lace, there's not a thing
Hey,
that I
Face.
would change.
Wait, how come you only see 4 across? That's so strange. I see 5.
Mom,
Oh,
this-
5, yeah. Well, yeah, when I see your...
Face.
Oh, face. When I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change. Because you're amazing. Just the way you are. And when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while. Because you're amazing. Just the way you are.
Well, you really put a lot of feeling into that.
Thanks,
I feel like
JazZkat.
it's even more special now.
Thanks for making it happen. Oh wait, that's Comrade.
Oh,
Comrade made it.
guess who's polystyrene?
Oh,
Guess what?
Is that Polly?
Is what, Polly?
The chicken suit.
No, these are all employees.
Are those
This is-
employees?
This is an all-employee flash mob.
Oh.
So that's why some avatars look a little old.
yeah. Whoever the chicken is, that's
That's
really-
I've no I don't you know I don't care about that sort of stuff.
I believe that the chicken costume was made by Kitten Cat.
Yes, that's old.
Yeah.
That is old, but it's still classic.
Yeah. So it's pretty awesome. Okay, what? Oh,
That looks like the default avatar there. Yeah.
oh, Yeenies. Yeah, I actually said to her, I was like, "Is that the avatar you're using?" And then I was like, "No, I mean it's fine. It's fine." So I was like, "Did you change yet?" I wasn't sure.
At least we have a chicken and a skeleton. Among other things.
Yeah.
Well, all I can say in respect to your comment about the avatars is that you have a lot of clients for makeovers.
Yeah, well, actually, where's Kevin? Oh, if you look in on yours, you do have 5 across now. If you look on the
Yes.
3rd row, the second from the left, that's one of our makeovers right there. That's
Change.
but
Yeah,
look at
Kevin
see the
makeover.
avatar. Click on that one. You can see he was actually so like admiring his avatars. Like we're trying to show something else on the screen here, but he's like, look at my avatar and how nice it looks. That's one of our makeovers. Change. Are you going to click on it? No.
I have. It's taking its time.
Oh. Trying to see if any of our other.
Looks like Elon Musk.
I think he would think that's a compliment.
Rocket Man. The
I
real
think
one.
there's the real Rocket Man.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we have at least one other makeover here in here somewhere. We've done like a dozen of them.
The guy that sent a car into space.
Mountain Man is also one of our makeovers.
Which one's that?
That is the second to last row, the first one on the left.
Second to last row. 4A.
Yeah. I think we have another one in here.
He looks
Oh,
like he looks like a gangster from a movie.
Another person who had a makeover is in here, but I noticed that he's not wearing exactly what we gave him. So that one may not be a
You
success.
gave him a makeover. He didn't like it. That doesn't sound familiar at all.
It doesn't sound like JazzKat at all.
No. Well, no, it has nothing to do with not liking anything. It's to do with one does not wear a suit when one is working. The only type of work you wear a suit to is not the kind of thing you want to be publicizing.
That's a good point. Do you ever reply to that, Conrad?
Wait, I'm sorry. What did you say?
Never mind.
Something you don't want to wear a suit to?
Sorry, never mind.
Sorry, I'm like, yeah, you guys should do your judging thing or you're never going to get done.
Okay. So, are you going to show? Do you want us? Are you going to stick around, or you got to go?
I guess you are
Okay.
using my audio right
That's
now.
loads.
It's lewd?
No, loads of meshes.
Oh yeah, there's 58 of them, and these are like 58 finalists in here.
So maybe the three of us should just walk through it and talk about them. You know,
I'm scanning.
looking for the ones you remember.
Oh yes, my favorite one is actually in here.
Hope it doesn't look that
Oh,
way.
I'm glad your favorite one is in here.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to say which one that
Am
is?
I allowed to say which one is my favorite one?
Yeah, go ahead.
I
See
would
how we
say yes.
waited there to grow the anticipation.
Once you say which one it is, that one has to get some kind of prize. I think it's going to get like jazzKat's favorite.
It's the chocolate one.
Oh, I like
The
that one. That
chocolate.
just
In the
looks
back,
so
right?
delicious.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the chocolate. And that one was.
oh, I don't know.
I was hoping somebody would do a chocolate one.
Do you know who made it, jazzKat?
Yeah.
Not off the top of my head.
It's a little hard to tell with so many products in the scene which
True.
thing is which.
Let's check the products here and see if we can figure.
Oh,
it
I
out.
think it's Chocolate Love 18 by Mr. Furious.
Chocolate Love 18 sounds like a good deduction.
So the pose is appropriate for that as well. Lounging over the chocolate like that.
Sort of gluttonous,
Yeah.
loungy. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to look around here to notice people who change the poses, because that was a big part of the extra prizes in the contest, right?
What's part of the extra prizes?
Well, in the contest, it said if you change the poses around,
Did
you can
Oh.
potentially get double if you're one of the winners. So
Yeah, and none of these were actually checked. I mean, that wasn't part of
Yeah.
what got you to
Sure.
this section of
but we're
judging.
kind of going around checking that now, is all I'm saying.
Oh.
Or I hopefully all three of us are, but I'm bouncing around here, just looking.
I feel like I'm just here for moral support. Like I'm not really helping you guys. My
More-
work
moral
here is
support's
done.
fun. You're kind of stuck here since you're the audio on your laptop, you know.
Yeah.
Can't get out. We appreciate you.
I'm sure we can switch that over at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. No, we did miss you, even though we trash talked you here and there.
Yeah,
I think
I'm sure.
users can attest that we did miss you, that we talked about.
Oh, that you did trash talk me.
Well,
I'm sure
we
they
did both.
can.
We trash talked you and we talked about how we missed you, but it was really we missed you, so we were hurt, so we took it out on you with trash talking. So we can be petty sometimes, I guess, but there you go.
Well, I'm glad that's clear now.
Yeah, but yeah, you should stick around if you have time. We'd love to have you. If you have to go, then that's still
On the
understandable.
last Valentine's Twitch.
Yes, you were there for the first two.
Fashion just came in
Yeah.
and
Fashionably late.
left us to rot, and just shows up and we're
Yeah.
giving up. Hello.
Yeah,
As you said.
all this talk of love and commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah,
Oh,
we're
I
just kind
can't
of
see. I can't see one of the other ones. One of my other favorites in here.
Twitch or other things.
Oh, I'm sending out all employees an email
Okay.
about our amazing flash mob.
No worries. We should, jazzKat, we should definitely pay attention to what people are saying in the Twitch channel. I'll try to help out with that. I'm looking around the room too.
That's my friend Fifi made that. What, the chocolate one?
Oh.
Creations? Are you talking about the chocolate one?
Yeah, it looked like it was. Yeah.
Yes, that was instant craving for chocolate.
And did you get it?
No chocolate in the house.
I found a pose change.
Where are you?
Very front.
What did you find in the very front?
Those
Oh,
changes.
yes. So that might be.
Nope.
Yes. So
Yeah.
that's.
But are you letting them posing the changes or changing the poses sway your decision of how much you like it? Or is it just that, oh, you like it and then does it have custom poses?
Yeah, I'm just pointing out some that had pose changes because, that takes extra work.
Yeah.
Right now, we're just kind of looking at these and showing them to people on the Twitch channel. We'll certainly announce the winners in good time, but I think we've narrowed it down to these 58 entries. We should.
Why are you
point out some
upside?
things.
You're upside down.
Because that's the change pose.
That's the
That-
change pose.
That is definitely a change pose. Yeah. That's how I knew it was obviously a change because I know.
Oh, now you guys are kissing or something.
Oh,
Very nice.
here we go.
Oh, that's
Shouldn't
weird.
you be wearing your Valentine's outfit, JazzKat?
No. This is not. It's, some people do like rough and ready.
I'm not sure if that's really what your avatar is. It's more like
These are my
12
work clothes. These are my work clothes. You don't wear a suit when you're working.
you shouldn't be working if you're 12 years old. That's a bit young.
Oh, how we've missed Comrade.
12 in IMVU terms. I'm the grown up in the room.
You're 12, but your profile says you're 33 or something.
No, it's the length of time at IMVU, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, IMVU is going to be 14 on April 1st, March 31st, April 1st.
Yeah. Yes, I got Shannon had somebody send me a message about some of the poses that they were having difficulty with getting the poses to work.
I believe that was our grand winner from the Halloween.
Yes.
XOOSX.
Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure what's actually going on there with the poses. Because it could be something to do with the FBX file itself, not the actual mesh per se. But I've encountered problems with that, what he was describing before.
Sure.
Exporting and importing via the FBX pathway, so it could be something to do with that. But if it is that, then it's a consequence of the constant tweaks that the FBX team do. There was another one that I thought was quite interesting, but it's not in here. So I'm guessing it was... So to be clear, the entries that we're looking at in this room, they all were essentially using original artwork.
They should be.
Right.
Of course, if you see something that you don't think does,
No. I mean, it looks okay to me. I'm just surprised that the jelly one's in here as well.
What are you surprised by?
Well, we had nearly, dare I say the number of entries?
Oh, it was like 200 and...
It's nearly 300. Shannon, was it?
Well, there were more that came in after the deadline of 4 p.m. So when I closed it out, it was in the 280s. And I believe since then, last time I looked, which was several hours ago, it was in the 290s.
So
I don't know.
There are 60-ish in the room now.
Yeah, about 60.
So we've lost 200 to the infamous Google texturing.
Now, is it looking blurred on Twitch as it is on the screen here that I'm looking at, out of curiosity?
It shouldn't do. I mean, it might just be periodically just, you know, the connection might be buffering or whatever it is that it does.
Like it's adjusting here.
Because it'll do one of two things. It'll either buffer and pause, or it reduces the quality of the stream.
Yeah, it looks a lot better on the Twitch channel. On our screen, it's blurry, but. So these are the 58 that we've narrowed it down to, and we are looking around at them, just letting people here see the poses and whatnot. You know what? For our Twitch listeners, would we like to invite them in here, maybe, or give them a link? I mean,
What?
I mean, it's not going to crash the room or anything.
It could make the room laggy. It could crash it for some of us.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know. Maybe.
I thought it might be interesting to let. I mean, I don't think every single person wants to come in who's listening. I'm just wondering if a few people.
Well, we have 19 people watching, so.
Yeah, and some of them probably don't have access to client. I'm just.
Might just be easier to winnow it down a little bit first.
Okay.
Which one are you laughing
I'm
about?
laughing at you. For somebody that didn't spend that much time in the competition, you got.
At first I was telling you, no, make that heart needs to be smaller. No, smaller. No, that needs to be over. No. And then I left for like a month.
Oh, how we've missed you.
Oh.
It's dangerous to question Comrade.
Yeah, Conrad.
Your life? Fear for your life, Comrade. Comrade Meow.
Do I feel fear for my life?
No.
You don't even get my cat's name right. First of all, it's not mine.
It's Conrad is comrade. So we just call you Conrad.
Oh, see? That's right. The old jokes are back. Better than ever.
Oh, now I remember why I left for a month.
Thank you, ladies and germs. Laura's in Tuesdays and Thursdays. Remember to tip your serving people. 10 drink minimum.
Now we know you used to work in the service industry, you know.
No, not really. But I went to. This is interesting.
You've been to stand-up comedy clubs.
Yeah. Haven't done any of that stuff. So. Hopefully this isn't terribly boring for our users as we're bouncing around checking these out.
You guys should have
basically showing these off.
You should be like, oh my gosh, look at how amazing this one is. Did you see, like we're not all looking at the same ones at the time, but I really like the ones that kind of made that candy hearts kind of thing on there.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes,
there's a few of them, I think.
Yeah.
And I kind of like, there's one way in the back, actually, it's not far from the chocolate one that JazzKat is going to give a special prize to.
The JazzKat prize.
That JazzKat is going to make us give a special prize to.
The entry will just say JazzKat's favorite.
Yeah. But I like the one that has Love Bug, Cupid's Arrow, Be Mine. I thought that was really cute.
There's
And
some really good ones there.
I thought that one had like the heart was animated, the far end. Maybe it's not a looping animation. No, I'm not sure. Or that maybe that was a different one because there are so many. I feel like with the ones that are solid red, you could almost just put them all together in one area and then decide like which red one is the best.
What I was looking at when I was looking through these is that the solid colored ones are they're tricky to discern because the other one that's not in here is the from a creator's point of view, from a texture artist's point of view, one of the things that you want to try and avoid is using solid colors on things, because when you use solid colors, if there's no shading or vertex colors or anything on the mesh that helps define the shape of the object, you lose definition. You can't define, you can't see what it is that you're looking at. And one of the things that I was looking at is the way that whether somebody had actually gone that extra step to try and not just use flat colors, but actually do something with them so that you actually start to see definition of the shapes. It's easy. I mean, you can see it with the letter E in particular. When you use a flat color on that letter, you lose the
That hole in it.
you lose the hole in it.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I really like the black one. There's like a black one that says amore and love, and then I assume the other ones say love in other languages. I don't know. But that one is very well done, and it seems to be the most popular one in the catalog too. So that would be like user's choice or something. I don't know. I wasn't going to give my opinion, but it's hard to stop myself. I know. There's one that's like, it's like blue and red alternating, like a kind of a bright blue and a bright, or like a turquoise blue and red. That's really nice. It's kind of in the middle somewhere. I'll just sit on it. That'll be easier. Did you see the one?
There was one. Somebody did one with particles. This didn't make the cut the mustard. Did that not get through for?
I think, okay, there was For You, who I think said she wasn't going to be a real entry.
Correct.
There was one other one that we saw, and I believe that it was just blinking like crazy. Like, I think that's what it was.
Right.
Like like the particles were nice, but then there was so much blinking that it was like, if I got Caesars, I would have had one. So.
Right.
Tip to people, just like there were a lot of them. I think we only left very few of the animated ones in, and yet there were a lot of them.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, no, I can't look at it.
Yeah.
It was just like random, and like people went crazy with animation. It was really scary. There was one that looked like a MySpace page or something. You guys can say all the nice things and I'll be like the critical, like, who is it? It's like Simon Cowell or something. Okay, this one that I'm sitting on is really pretty. Did you see this one?
Where are you?
Yes, we'll talk to you later. Yes.
Look at the one I'm sitting on. It's so nice.
Trying to find you.
I'm in the back. I'm one row forward from the chocolate one.
All right. Oh yes, that's the other one of the other ones. That's another one that I.
That was one of your favorites.
Yeah.
JazzKat favorite number 2.
There's a lot of great entries.
Yeah. Oh, I really like this red one that has like, it looks like they spelled they put lights on the L and the V and the E.
Mm-hmm.
I like their choice to be like, I'm not going to put it on the heart. Do you see where I'm sitting now? It's kind of farther to the front. Not as far as the upside down Shannon is. But
I'm at the very front, yeah.
Yes,
I see.
yeah.
Are you judging these? I'm not judging them. I'm just making comments.
It's it's always interesting to get other viewpoints in here. So I'm looking at I'm kind of going over some things here, and I'm thinking, why don't we all pick our top 4?
I'm not picking.
You sort of did, but you don't have to if you don't want to.
I don't know. I didn't really look at. I mean, I've narrowed it down to my 58 favorite. My work is done. I wasn't the only one doing that, by the way.
Well, how about JazzKat and I pick our top 4, and then if you feel like it, you can pick some of yours. If you feel
if you don't pick something that I'm like, wait, why didn't you pick that one? That was really good.
I mean, I think it's fair to say here that there was a huge turnout for this. I have no problem expanding prizes for other things.
Yeah, I mean, nearly 300 entries. That's huge.
There was a huge turnout here, almost double what we had with the Halloween pumpkin patch, right?
And is this just first, second, third, and fourth, or?
Well, there's first, second, third, fourth,
okay,
and
so
then
it's
there's
not categories.
And then it's double for
custom
if you have custom poses.
Yeah.
But I would like it. I mean, if there's anybody who's like an up and coming creator who's in here, we may want to consider that too. And but I think for now, let's do the top 4, and then if we want to add more, if I add more prizes later, I don't think too many people are going to mind.
Yeah, I don't think
we may have
anyone's
some
going to
honorable
complain
mentions,
about that.
right? Because there were a lot of people who turned out for this event, and we advertised this unfortunately very late, and still a ton of people showed up.
Well, there have been banner ads throughout, though.
Yeah,
I think most of the
still
time.
a lot of people showed up. So I think fair to say, we didn't. We can extend the prizes and expand it out, right? So.
Wait, Liana says she's keeping quiet. Is that about me? She comes to the Jinx and Prim stuff, so she probably knows my personality quite well. Okay, let's see. What's wrong with my mouse? It's not doing anything. Oh, maybe my computer's just frozen up in general.
They're frozen up. Yeah.
I think so.
Did you? Well, that's awkward since you're hosting the voice.
Awkward. I would probably have to reboot my computer. Maybe you can sign into the
This is like a cliffhanger. We're about to judge, and you wink and have to reboot. We planned that out well, didn't we, JazzKat? We've been planning for
it's just like all authoritarians.
Incredibly well
planned. It gets tough. They scarper.
I'm trying to give you a moment to sign into the Zoom, but if you keep talking, I'll just sign out. I'll be gone.
Oh, would you like me to go on Zoom now so you can go away, or do you want to keep judging?
It's not that I want to go away. It's just that I think I need to reboot my computer.
Why don't you just reboot and then we'll be back and JazzKat can entertain.
All right. Okay.
We'll JazzKat, you can entertain for a bit.
Yeah.
Bye, Jazz.
Yeah.
For a minute.
Yeah. Shortly. Yeah. Reboot.
Do a little song and dance.
Reboot. Yeah.
But we'll be able to see your song and dance because we still have you up on the conference room computer.
Right. Yes, so that's lots of 280 entries ish, and 60 remain because 220 internet math warning 220 odd used search engine textures, or as best can be determined. That's a lot of It's not fallout. What's the word? Can't think of a word. Okay, yes, you're live as well, so we can hear you. Yeah.
Yay! That was pretty quick because I did it a different way.
She's a tech genius. She does
Because
say
I'm a
so.
tech genius.
If she does say so herself.
Yeah, I do. It's true.
It's true.
Why fight it?
Yep, indeed.
I didn't even reboot my computer and we're back.
So while we were rebooting JustCat, we were thinking we'll each give our top 4, but that doesn't necessarily mean there won't be more prizes. And we're just going to mention which ones we like. Some of these are hard to figure out on the spot who made them.
Yes.
But we will figure that out when we announce it. And we'll double check in between to make sure we got the right entries. But I think I'm gonna close up on, we'll close up on our favorites and put it in our feed, or just save it so we can send it to each other to make sure we got the right ones.
Yeah.
And then I think there's got to be honorable mentions, because there was a really huge turnout for this.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, almost 300. I think it's perfectly acceptable when we have a huge turnout like this to extend the prize and whatnot.
Well, I mean, three of the ones that I can tell you what my 4 are actually. So
Are they all by the chocolate one? Like they're all next to the chocolate?
Funnily enough, they are not that far away from the chocolate one.
Okay.
So there is this one that I'm sat on right now, which is almost near the back, second row from the back, I think it is.
There we go.
I think, okay, if I get back into the room, you guys are like in my room and I'm not in it.
It's our room now.
Oh, what did I open up? That's really weird. Pulse. Oh.
So that's your first one. And
well, in no particular order of preference. So there's the one I'm sat on right now.
Sure. But before you go to the next one, why not share what you liked about it, right?
Oh, yes. Basically, just because it looked like a cross between candies and biscuits.
Wait, I'm sensing a theme here. Like,
food, eat, yum. So let that be a lesson to you all. When we do the IMVU Pride Mesh, food stuff might help you.
Like rainbow cookies or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sprinkles.
Yeah, I think it's good to mention why we like the particular ones we picked, because users do like to hear that stuff, as I found when I gave feedback during the Halloween event, right?
I just moved you over a little.
All right. So I was going to say, where's the room gone?
Sorry, I just thought we could
What happened?
together, you know? So.
Tech issues, we apologize. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that one.
Okay.
Obviously the chocolate one.
That's nice. You got kind of moved out there, focused on it. Cool.
Chocolate one.
Yeah. Good thing we kept you here.
Oh, it's really. I'm sure you're sad that it didn't work out to transfer it over to our.
And that obviously the chocolate one, just because chocolate. And it's actually really, really well done.
Yeah, it's really well done.
What did you like about the way it's done? If I may ask?
To be perfectly honest, I thought it took me a while, because I did look at it quite hard, because the thing that threw me, that made me think that it was lifted, it was a Google, the typical Google sort of thing, was the way that the creator had done the actual chocolate dribbly bits, whatever those things are called, because they'd done such a good job, whether that was intentional or not, I don't know, but they'd done such a good job of that, it looked like they had lifted the textures.
Wow, look at that.
That's
dare I say amazing?
Yeah.
Would you say it's amazing?
I would actually go so far as to say that this was one of the ones that had me double taking, and I'm still looking at it now, even though I know that this has been hand done, because obviously there isn't a heart-shaped chocolate on the internet that would fit this exactly. So but
Chocolate.
it's deceptively. What they've done is actually very simple, but it's deceptively simple. But it's very, very convincing. It does look like chocolate.
Okay.
So there's that one. Where's the other one? There's this one that I'm sat on, which is 1, 2, 3, 4th row from the back, in the middle-ish.
I think Laura will pull you off to the side when she can.
Wait, what? Where are you?
What? Where?
Fourth row from the back.
Yeah, you're picking like some of my favorites. I probably don't have to pick anything now. Wait, okay, I'm picking
Oh,
there.
don't be that way. There's a lot of good entries here.
I'll be like, no, the rest of them are all
You just be
terrible.
more vague and go, I like this and I like that one, and I don't want to tell you why.
I'll just
I like this one just aesthetically, because of the way that they've taken the time to do the trim. I mean, it's funny, we were just talking about this in Twitch beforehand, of using Blender, and the way that they'd taken the time to trim both the sides and the front and the back to match with this metallic gold effect. And it's a simple texture, but it just works quite well. So that's why I like that one. And then the 4th one, if I can find it, to continue the theme. I think I must have been hungry. There's this one, 1, 2, 3rd row from the front.
Oh, right.
It looks like I like this one just because it looked like jelly letters.
It's translucent by the heart.
Yeah.
You could say, right? Like
So,
when I
jelly.
go up close. Yeah, jelly. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. You call jam jelly, so I don't know what you would call.
I was thinking of like some of those candies, right?
Yeah.
Myself, but it's all food, right? So that's good. Yeah.
So those are my. There was another one. I think there's probably one or two. One of them
Why don't you pick out the others? I mean,
they're not in here, unfortunately. They didn't make the cut.
Okay.
One of them was that it was a lot of. It was the letters were basically filigree. They'd done a lot of transparency work, and didn't make it through. And the other one was the particles one. I just thought that was quite sort of quite cute, the way that everything just sort of matched up.
Awesome.
But
Thank you.
I think that was for you, so I don't know what.
I think there were 2 that had particles, and then for you, I don't know, but she did an amazing. Like her particles were like really cool.
Yeah.
Or, like in a line or something.
Yeah.
It was good.
So those are my immediate 4.
Okay. Should I go next, or do you want to go next, Chairman?
You can go.
So no surprise here in the very front with the upside down pose.
Oh, you like it? It has a special.
Well, I like it for a number of reasons. One, I like it because you look at the letters and they change color. If you look at love, you'll see that it's going from white to red. Okay. You guys,
Oh yes,
are you looking for it right now?
Hang on, I'm just sitting on there.
It's got on the hearts here. It's got letters flashing, and also, it has extraordinary in it, which is close to amazing. And also it changed the pose. It's upside down, right?
Yes.
So I like it for all those reasons. My reasons may not be as jazzKat-y to invent a word or play off a word here. I'm just kind of looking at my gut feeling as I look at these, right, and going, oh, that's really clever. I like the way they did that.
Was that an intentional joke? Gut feeling?
Could be.
Yeah. The theme for
now
today is food.
Now I'm over in the front right here, and you'll see that these hearts and the letters have almost like cuts through them of different colors. I like the uniqueness to this. A lot of people.
Oh, it's very clean.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people chose a lot of different colors, traditional ones. This person took a risk and went out there and did a lot of different things here, and this just kind of stood out amidst all the red, you could say. Wanted to give a shout out to that one.
Looks like a Mondrian.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. I might be choosing one that Laura liked here, which has the one that had the foreign words here. This is kind of in the.
Are you sitting on it?
Yeah, I'm sitting on it right now,
Okay.
but I moved.
I see it.
So this one I like because I like the colors. Again, as you can tell, I'm big on the color changes here, but I also like the creativity with the hearts, where it's got foreign languages here, which translate basically to love and I love you, and et cetera, et cetera. And then my last one, if I can find it, amidst all the red, is, where is it? A little further back. There we go. Okay, so this is I'm in kind of the back right area if you're looking from the front.
Oh, there you are. Yeah, found you.
I'm on the black one. This is mostly black, but with shades of gray and white.
That's Adam's family.
Adam's family? Okay.
That's the Adams family's. He's all black. He's using words that. What's his name? Not Festa.
Mm-hmm.
Mi amore,
Ah, yes.
What's his name?
Oh, you have to think of like Morticia saying his name.
Yes, I know. That's what I'm trying to...
I can't think. I don't know.
What's his name?
Maybe one of the users and will tell us. Gomez.
Gomez.
Yes. Gomez?
Yeah, is this Gomez, isn't it?
Maybe.
Yes, Gomez.
Did we Google it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, DJ. Gomez. Yeah. So
yeah, so I like the color scheme of this. Again, the black, the white, the shades of gray, the choice of amore and love, and it stood out for me amidst a sea of reddish colors. Now, on that note, let me just say that all the ones in here are amazing in my opinion. Amazing. And it's very hard when you're going through these, especially when you're a noobish blender like myself and trying to judge yours. So this is not an easy task when there's such high quality being displayed, which we appreciate here in India. But I've done my 4, and jazzKat's done his 4. So now the pressure's on Laura.
Well, there are some really good ones left, so I guess I will pick 4.
Whew, what a relief.
Yeah, you were worried.
She's like, I got nothing.
Yeah.
Dead space.
Sorry, that's it. Okay, so I'm sitting on my first choice. I think this one is really good. It's red.
Uh-huh.
It looks like it has like marquee lights on it, a jazzKat found where I am. So that one is nice. And so that's my first choice. So these
That's
aren't
nice.
in any particular order.
All right, I'll change.
Oh my God, he's gonna put on his his suit because we're all dressed up and he's not.
Yeah, see, with it, particularly on this particular one.
2 people, peer pressure.
I'm not even dressed up. I don't even.
Well, compared
think
to
I'm
his
trying to change
outfit,
the world.
you know.
And
Oh,
then-
there we go.
And then I really like the rainbow one. I think that's nice.
The rainbow one. Let's find that. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
So that was the other one.
Mhm.
I thought that came out. I mean, you could go really wrong with rainbow, but I think that. Hold on, let me just
Mhm.
move it over a little because I feel like it's going
Sure.
through the wall. Okay. That's easy. Then it's harder to only pick 2 more. Let me just look around a little bit.
We did grab some of the ones you liked, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would have totally picked like the chocolate one or that jazzKat.
Thanks, jazzKat.
Like I really like jazzKat's choices, and then
Yeah, he's got some good ones.
well, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I don't like yours.
Well, you better.
Like if I had been picking first, I
Uh-huh.
would have gone for some, and then yeah,
Well, you're wishing we let you
Anyway.
pick first now, huh?
I do like this love bug one.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite cute. So I need to just pick 2 more. So I'm not
Sure.
sure where I have to see.
In my opinion, you can't really go wrong with any of the picks in here. They're all very good. I mean,
Yeah, but I don't want to just pick and then see
Sure,
another
sure.
one and go, oh, but that one.
Right, right.
Where are you? I can't even.
she's in the back,
I'm in the back.
back middle.
All right.
The ones where they made them like candy hearts, and there's a pink one that I kind of like this one. There's actually 2 of them. Shannon's on one that I really like the colors. Like I'm really drawn to the
Mhm.
colors of it. Like they did a nice job with that. the
Yeah, we're
colors.
kind of in the front left side middle,
But I'm not.
facing it from the front.
I kind of like the one I'm just moved to now. Like I like the way they did. Like we didn't allow many of the animated ones in, but I thought the animation on this was cute. Like, it's
Mhm.
just- I think I'm gonna go with this one
Okay.
as a, and maybe over there somewhere here. And so that one, because I thought they did a good job with animation. And I think I will go for the Love Bug one. That was very cute. So I just like when people kind of make it a fun, like it's a fun photo op when you put stuff like that on there, and they do a
Mhm.
pretty good job with it. So let me just get it. Oh, let me put it on the other side.
It looks like the one that we're all sat on, they tried to change the pose as well.
Where did they try to change the tone?
Well, unless it's a scalar issue, it's, well, Shannon looks as if he's, well, he's not resting on the actual furniture, so I guess that must be a scalar thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
Oh no, that's likely not an issue with the mesh. It's just the pose where, you know, the scalars sometimes affect the pose points on meshes when you have scalars on your avatars.
And I would think if they're going to change their pose, they would make it more
Yeah,
definitive.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I changed this pose, it's obvious. Then I adjusted it a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are 4, right, Laura?
Yeah, that's
Okay. Yeah, so I think from this list, we're probably going to pick a grand prize winner, which we'll figure out off of Twitch, since that'll take a little more work. And we'll definitely have some honorable mentions, well, besides the ones we picked. I have no problem going beyond the 4 or 5 prize listings we had.
Yeah, well, this is 12. All 12 of these get a prize, right?
Yep. All 12 of these get a prize, but there'll be honorable mentions, and there'll definitely be a grand prize winner. One of the 12 will be a grand prize winner. If it's really close, who knows? Maybe 2. We'll see. If the judges start to duke it out, that's always a good incentive to give it to 2,
Yeah,
so they don't hurt each other.
It's gonna be like Fight Club judging.
Yep.
I kind of like this one. They did a really good candy hearts job on it.
Where's that? In the
When
back?
I'm sitting on, kind of in the middle-ish. Little
Just
middle.
over there.
They just did a cute job with it.
Oh, right.
Like,
Well,
I would buy that one.
since you picked
I
this,
did actually buy all of these.
since you picked this,
Every one
you
of
should
was for my purchase, so.
you should move it over. This will be an honorable mention at
I should
least,
have
right?
or do we have a different section for it?
Well, we can move it to another section. Those will be
This is
honorable
okay,
mentions
this
for
one
sure,
is
right?
the start of honorable mention.
Yeah. Why not? I'm taking shots for my feed a little here. Oh, that is cute.
So where's Ringo? So we've got John, Paul, George. Where's Ringo?
I know. I'll let Laura answer that.
What?
Well, with it's like it. I just suddenly thought that this is like, you know, the Beatles sitting on something.
Oh,
You know, sitting on a piece of furniture or whatever it is.
so which one am I?
No idea. You can choose.
Choose which Beatle I am?
What?
You said we're like the Beatles, and I said which one am I? And you said you could choose. Did I miss something in that conversation?
I know. I didn't hear what you. I didn't hear the choice.
Oh no, I didn't know. You said I get to choose one.
Yeah, John, Paul, George, or Ringo.
Oh, I'll be John.
You know what's really funny about that?
What? Oh no, what?
I won't say. I won't say.
What?
No. I'll say it off air because it's quite controversial.
Okay. In our secret meeting afterwards, I get it. Wink.
Wink, wink.
Yep.
Am I going to be responsible for breaking up the Beatles?
Probably. Yeah. Mm. So, what do our users think who are in here? Do they have any comments?
So yes, so these are right. So let's go through them. So these are the 4.
Can we get back into this room, Laura? Because I don't. Is there a way to favorite this, or is this a private room?
I was trying to share a room with you, but somehow the way
Okay.
it worked out, if I share it with you, I'm just sharing the shell and the furniture doesn't show up because it's complicated.
So we'll need to say these are the ones that we're pretty sure they are, and maybe you can double check them to make sure they are. I don't know, because some of these look alike, but I think we'll figure it out. But it'd be nice to come back in the room and double check.
I think what we need to do is remove the ones that we're not choosing.
Okay.
And then we can do like a right click and view products and see.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. Why didn't I think of that? I don't know. But okay. So what are the users saying in Twitch chat?
I'm not sure. I think the chat is catching up.
Yeah. Seeing that too here.
Right. So those are the food-related ones for moi. Where's ShannonMac's gone?
Let's just pick up some prize titles, like this one will win most delicious.
Amazing
and,
this.
like,
These are
this one will win, like,
ShannonMac's Tutti Fruities.
Tutti Fruities? What?
ShannonMac's
No, those are
Tutti
yours.
Fruities.
I'm looking at.
Oh yeah, you're catching up. If you're watching the Twitch stream, so I'm describing what I'm looking at now. So you'll be.
I'm not seeing the dialogue right now.
Yeah,
on
no,
my
you won't just yet. So these are Shannon's Tutti Fruities, and then we've got.
Fruities? I didn't want to call it Tutti Fruities. Yes.
And then these are Laura's Luscious selections. Whoops.
Some creative license there by jazzKat.
They're my lovely selection.
I think mine are amazing.
For
Mine are-
Valentine's, you don't have lovely for Valentine's. You've got to have luxurious, and
But lovely has love in it.
depends how you spell it.
It's true. Good point.
So these four here that we're looking at on, well, that. Oh yes, you will have caught up. So these are Laura's, and then these are the extras that Shannon and Laura's sitting on.
What? Where am I sitting? I don't even know where I'm sitting anymore. Oh,
I'll need to move over to my
I
entries.
think I moved a couple honorable mentions over. Yeah, Shannon and I. are
So
sitting on-
Ringo
Let
turned
me
up.
move over to mine. I'll move over to the one,
That's
the
like
four I
Candyland-
nominated.
The Candyland section.
Yeah, Ringo turned up.
Ringo. All right. Yeah. So my four are front of that. So I think Laura has the Tutti Frutti, but I might be wrong there. Just saying.
Mine are Candyland. You just don't like that he called yours too booty.
It's a cowboy reference.
A cowboy reference.
Yeah, jazzKat's a whole cowboy.
He's a cowboy? I did not know that.
And a fan.
You know what? I like this one. I'm going to put this in honorable mention. I kind of overlooked it before. but it's
Which one was
actually
that?
The one I'm sitting on. I have to move it over.
Okay.
Even though it doesn't fit in with the candy ones.
Okay.
Wait, what did I do? Okay. Out at the edge of the room, things get a little weird. But I thought what they did was pretty interesting with the stripes.
Mm-hmm.
I would put that in a photo shoot. That's my criteria. Would I put this in a photo shoot?
Would you put in a photo shoot? Okay. Glad we got that figured out.
How many honorable mentions do you want? I can add some more over there if you want.
You know, I mean, we can do that now, or partly now and then later. I mean, it's about 6 o'clock now here. I don't know what it's like time wise for everybody.
Oh,
But
the stream has been going for an hour, so 2 hours, I should say. So you've been here for about an hour, I guess. So
Yeah, I mean, we could pick some, or for honorable mention. I mean, I think we had from the Halloween one, we had 10 to 15 from what I recall. So,
But we already have 12 winners
Yep.
for the honorable mentions.
I mean, if you see one or two that catch your eye, pull them over. I think that's totally legit.
It's so tough.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good ones here.
Yeah, people did a really good job. I'm impressed. I feel like, kind of like the grandma of this or something, this sort of.
DJ
What, Grandma?
Tech. DJ, I think only. Well, we've only spotted one set of custom poses.
Picked by ShannonMac.
Yeah, picked by
Oh,
Shannon
I
picked it
forgot.
out. So there were custom poses, but I think it was just one so far. There might have been
Look how-
more, but didn't see any.
Oh, look at how nice this one is I'm sitting on. Look at the texture on it. It was kind of hiding in the back, but look how nice.
By the chocolate.
Yeah, the chocolate distracted you from how nice this one is. Look at the texture. Look what a good job they did with their bevels. And then they have some animation, but it's not too much. It just looks really nice.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like another one to pull over.
Yeah.
I did feel though. It's in the honorable mention
Okay, cool.
section. I hope you can tell what these different sections
Oh, that's
are.
got a custom pose.
That's weird. It looks a bit deranged. I don't know if honorable mentions are eligible for. Well,
Maybe
it's up
you
to
want to bump it
guys.
up. Maybe.
It's all up to you guys. You're gonna pay out the prizes, right?
Well, it's going to be me specifically, yeah. Maybe if I get one of the agents to help me if I'm pressed for time, but yeah, I think I can do it myself. Any others jumping out at you there, JazzKat?
No, I was just looking at that pose.
Oh, the one that Laura pulled
Yeah,
over?
looks
Let me
like
go over there.
they're supposed to be holding something. I'm not quite sure.
How much time do you think is put into doing custom poses?
It depends if they're using 3D Studio Max or not. It's, I mean, you can do custom poses with Blender because we made custom poses for it, but it depends if they're using 3D Studio Max, which will be a lot easier to do, relatively speaking, in terms of, process. But you can never tell. So I guess you would have to look at their catalog to see if any of their other products had poses.
This is definitely a custom pose. I almost look like a zombie, but yeah.
Or is it an accident?
I don't know.
Well, it looks like they should be holding a bunch of flowers or something, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
Or is it a couple's pose that didn't quite
fan out?
Because it looks like that could be what that might have been.
Right.
So that's another one with poses. So to answer DJ, yes, so a couple of them.
These aren't fitting. I may have to stop putting honorable mentions in here.
You're running out of
I'm running out of
space. High quality problem.
Yeah. IMVU problems.
Yes.
Hashtag IMVU problem.
Yeah. Compared to like, oh, we had no entries, that would be probably a real problem. Interesting. Any other comments, JazzKat?
No, I'm just. I mean, the funny thing is that it's quite interesting that you can use, continuing on with the flat color thing. It works pretty well with the heart shape. You can use flat colors with the heart shape because it's a relatively straightforward shape. But when you use them on the letters, so it's quite an interesting challenge that you've got these very hard linear shapes in combination with these very curvy shapes, and that the way that you texture something, the way that you apply colors. Oh, that was the other one, the one with the hole in it, in the heart.
Oh, where's that? Are you in the back?
No, it's one of the mentions I think Laura's just pulled over.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I like the cutout in the heart. I thought that was
Yeah. Oh, that's got
definitely
that funny pose as well. Is that? That's not. No, it is. That's. I wonder if that's.
That looks very similar to the other one. Maybe it's the same creator because some
Same
submitted.
creator, yeah.
I don't think it's a bug. I think that's
No,
intentional.
it's just it catches you off guard because you don't necessarily expect people to put poses in.
very weird pose. No offense to whoever made it, sorry, but that's pretty weird. Like what?
Well, maybe it wasn't completed, or maybe it's, you know,
Ran
you
into
know,
difficulties.
they may have attempted it and realized, oh, didn't quite turn out the way they wanted. I don't know. Or maybe that's an intentional pose. Hard to say. Perhaps we'll hear it from the creator when they speak to us.
The creator speaks.
.com.
All right, just added one more. I'm gonna stop looking at them because then it'll just be like they're all gonna be moved over to the honorable mention category.
You'll just run out of space, and that'll be that.
I do kind of like that red and black one. It kind of goes with my outfit too. All right, should we end now? Should we end now and then we can figure out which one is which so that.
Yes,
Right.
well, I think we've got quite a lot of. So that's. I mean, we're talking about 20 odd
Yeah,
20 odd meshes.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely want to announce, preferably, announce the winners tonight or tomorrow at the latest. So
Yep. Do it properly.
I do
Yes.
have to get going
Yeah.
in about an hour and a half. I have a date up in the city, which is about an hour drive. So yeah, that'd be good.
So should
Well,
we end?
Yeah, well, yeah, so not quite sure when the next stream is going to be. It might not be something necessarily related to anything IMVU, but keep an eye on the, you know what to do. Subscribe, follow, blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah, etc., etc. And we shall see you on the next stream. So thanks very much, everybody, for stopping by.
Thanks for coming out, everyone.
Yeah, watching the shenanigans.
And you got
you
your
anon.
chair hanging out again.
Yeah.